Hello, Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty. And before I get into the video, I just want to remind people, if you enjoy this video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. If you want to help me make this channel grow, share it with other people. Let people know about my channel and what Little Frugal, American Dream, and I are doing here, because we would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you want to help us financially, we do have a Patreon. So you can go to the link down below in the info bar and click on that, so that way you can help support us for even as little as $1 a month. We greatly appreciate it. That'll be used to help us increase the production value and the quality as well as the content for these videos. And if any extra does ever happen, and that's, if, that money will be going towards the kids' college fund. All right, so go ahead. We're going to dig in. We're going to do Luke Cage, issue 170. It writer was David Walker, and its artist was, as you all know, I butcher names, so bear with me. Guillermo Sana, Guillermosanna. It's published by Marvel Comics, February 21st, 2018, with a cover price of $3.99. This comic book in general gets a lot of high reviews, and I have very mixed feelings on that, and that's what I want to share. Now, I will say this is after 2 story arcs, and it's the final issue of the series. It's a one-shot, if you will, closing the series. Luke is finally at home, and he reads a bedtime story, or not read, I'm sorry, he tells a bedtime story to his little girl, but ends up she helps him make the story as they go through. It's sort of like a fairy tale, but that fairy tale leads into elements of what's going on in their lives currently. So it acts sort of like a insight to Luke Cage and his family life, which that I like. It also displays the joy of parenthood, and really showing some growth in the characters. Now, with that said, let's look at some other avenues, because there is another thing too that maybe I'm reading more into it than what's actually there. Okay, but maybe I'm not. Now, first, before I even get into that, this story, this is it's okay. It's a decent closing. It is a little bit heartwarming. I'll give it that. The artwork of this series throughout the whole one, and this is no different, has been mediocre to not good. Okay, and this is at the not good. It's not great art. The story arcs were okay. I really, really wanted to love this series. I purchased it. I know a lot of people dog this series, and I understand it too. I had definite reasons to dog on the series. The plots were okay, and the artwork has been subpar at best. So, digging into that though, so I might have been reading more into this than what was really happening, but I will say it did make me question things. So anyway, first of all, you have Luke Cage wearing a shirt that says Huggy Bear. I mean, really, that doesn't fit Luke Cage. I know he's a parent, and they're showing his softer side, but hey. So anyway, Luke Cage ends up doing his mother, wants him to talk to his daughter, and so this is going to show that father-daughter bonding time. Now, myself being a parent, I can really relate to that. So those elements I really do enjoy in this book. But as I said, it has a couple troubling things, and I may be reading too much into it. So anyway, Luke Cage goes to her room, and she's got posters of female superheroes all over, because female empowerment, which she's a girl, it's okay. But if you look at the stuffed animals, they're all guys. So I don't think it's too much of a one-note message there. Alright, and so Luke Cage asks her about cuddle time, and she's like she needs hugs, and I like that part. That's great, because cuddle time with your kids is absolutely essential. I am all for that. I do it all the time, as well as reading to my kids. So then we get into the story time parts of it. And so it starts as, once upon a time, there was a king named Luke and his beloved daughter, Princess Danielle. And that's pretty sweet. I like that. But she's like, I don't want to be a princess. Mommy says being a princess is for weak girls who are waiting to be saved by a prince. Now, okay, that is going into cringe territory. But to be fair, Jessica does have that kind of attitude. So I can forgive that a little bit. So Luke Cage's like, huh, Mommy said that? She's like, so I don't want to be a princess. Unless, and then she's going on to what would make it okay for her to be a princess. And so there it gets into this, can I be a princess who is a superhero? That way I don't need to be saved by a prince. I don't have any issue with that. You know, once again, I think this issue, this is where it's starting to get a little preachy, so bear with me in here. It says, sure, you can be anything you want to be, Luke Cage says. And she goes, okay, let me tell you about my superpowers. I am Princess Danielle, and I have magical powers, and I can talk to flowers and make them do things for me. I can control rainbows. Okay, and that's pretty girly, so I can get down with that. And then Cage goes, those are the best powers of all time. Really? Really, Cage? But once again, parents will say things like that to their kids. She's like, I know, but that's not all. And I will say, this was interesting from a kid's perspective. So once again, I have no issues with this part. She's like, an evil dragon, she's got snake arms, and things like that. That's what she has. And then anyway, the story progresses. An evil dragon threatened to destroy their kingdom. Because Princess Danielle had superpowers, the dragon was in for some serious trouble. And she's like, Papa. He's like, what, sweetie, was it? She goes, I like dragons. Uncle Danny is a pet dragon. I thought that was nice because it links to the Iron Fist and how they all have that connection together. So once again, this part I'm greatly enjoying. So then he changes it, and here's where it gets cringy. Okay, he goes, they could fight trolls. Now, once again, I could be reading more into this. So they're going to fight trolls, okay? Which, okay, you see a bunch of trolls. But then when it starts getting into the details and more about it, I tend to wonder. It says, mean and evil trolls, she says, who do mean and evil things. And then King Luke and Princess Danielle fight the evil and mean trolls. And the king, smushes them. And the Princess Danielle eats their faces with their snake hands. Once again, nothing too bad. But here's where I start to wonder. Did the writer do this intentionally, or was it unintentionally? It almost seems like the writer is now at this point calling the readership, the potential fan base, the customers, trolls, identifying them, because that's a popular thing from social media, and then starting to sort of go at them in this story. Now, this, once again, I could be reading something into it that wasn't really there, but I don't know. It just seemed like it was intentional. Hear me out. It says, the trolls have a leader, and his name is Hateface, and he hates everything, which makes him ugly because hate is ugly. But that's not all. No, think about that. On social media, these writers love calling people trolls if they don't like something. And they all of a sudden perceive, for example, diversity in comics as a leader. Now, no offense to diversity in comics, and this is not a jab at him in any way. He's not a leader. We are a large group of people with a diverse set of opinions. But he is often targeted and used as a leader by the other side because he's so popular and so big. That's not necessarily his fault there. But they love to picture him as a leader and making it like he's causing all these trolls and all these problems. So bear with me. It says, Hateface has pet birds, but they are monster birds called yuck birds, and the yuck birds poop on everything. Think about that. How really? How is that not we're going to use this story to take a jab at people that didn't like our book? As I said, I read this book. I continuously got it hoping it would get better, but I can't give this series praise. And I'm a huge Luke Cage fan. So Luke Cage is like, Hateface, monster birds that poop on everything? And she's like, yeah, and the poop, she goes, magic poop, and the poop is green with purple polka dots. So, they got to girl it up a little bit, and that's fine. Once again, I have no issue, because I said I could be reading more into this than what's actually here, but I don't know. As I continue to read it, I swear this is like, I'm going to take jabs at those people on social media. So anyway, it says, Hateface and his evil trolls attacking King Luke, and then Hateface used his magic to make King Luke frozen in place, and he couldn't move at all. In other words, these evil people on social media are destroying my career. I can't progress because they say bad things about my book. Anyway, next panel says, which meant he couldn't hug Princess Danielle. And then the yuck birds were flying all around him because, we're all hateful people. And then the yuck birds pooped on him. And then he was sad because he was frozen and covered in poop. Because, remember, these people are saying, we crap all over them, right? We SHIT talk and all that stuff. Just because if we have a disagreement about a direction of a book or dislike a book, we are flinging poo. These are things they say, right? So, and they couldn't hug Princess Danielle because remember, they all say we're a hateful group of people. They don't realize we're not filled with hate, but that's how they try to portray us, that we're all these hateful, evil, mean people. And that's what we're seeing in this story. So anyway, then Danielle, and Cage are still talking, and he says, and then you'll never guess what happened next. She goes, I know. Let me tell you. One of the Princess Danielle's hands turned into a snake. And then, I thought I was telling a story, Cage says. Well, you're getting it all wrong. She says that Danielle's secret weapon is Tiger Gator. And so she's now flying on this Tiger Gator. And behind the Tiger Gator is a rainbow. Now, once again, I'm not trying to be homophobic or anything like that. That's not my goal here. And I understand girls, rainbows, things like that. But really, behind the Tiger Gator, was that necessary? Because once again, one of the things that they say these haters are, they throw poop at everything, they're calling everybody racist and homophobes. Okay? And so she's flying here in front of a rainbow. Do you think that might have had some kind of connection there? Saying that they hate these kind of people with these, beliefs? I don't know, but I find it hard to believe it's not a pointed attack. And so anyway, Jessica the Tiger Gator saved the day. Cage says, and she goes, no, because it was the magic poop. It did something to Jessica. The Tiger Gator, remember Jessica, a female, it turned her back into a woman, but not just any woman. She was really Princess Danielle's mommy. So notice this woman that was vilified and made ugly and things like that was actually somebody who was, being attacked by people. Hate Face turned Queen Jessica into a Tiger Gator. Okay, so Hate Face turned Queen Jessica into a Tiger Gator. So this wonderful, fantastic queen was turned into this because he hated her because she was strong and beautiful. And once again, you vilifying these poor people because your hatred for them. I swear this is like a whole little, I'm painting really a picture about the people on social media, our customers that don't like something. We're calling them homophobes, and you turn these poor, wonderful people into these evil people. That seems to be the message it's giving. And then it goes on, she says it makes her sad to Cage. And as I said, if this didn't seem like a pointed message to people, this would probably be a really heartwarming, touching story. So anyway, and then Princess Danielle, she knew she had to stop Hate Face, or she would be alone forever. So she started to beat him up, but not really, because her snake hands were hungry. So they ate his ugly face. And then Hate Face had a regular face under his ugly face. But he was still Hate Face because he still hated everything, even though his face was normal. It was very sad. And then Princess Danielle used her flower powers to talk to the flower. And then the flowers started singing because they were magical and could sing. And then the trolls became happy because the flower songs were so beautiful it made them forget how to hate. Even Hate Face. So it's that painting a love message on how love saves everything. And once again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it seems to me like this story was a little more than just them two telling a story, and also a cheap way in your last issue that got canceled to blame the potential market for not liking your book and calling them hateful, flinging poo, homophobic, and all those things. Because look at the person was transformed because they were hated. Just like, you make up stories about something, which is funny because that's really what SJWs do. They dehumanize and deplatform people they don't agree with. But the story twisted it around like they were the victim because that's what they like to do. Rather than this book not selling because, let's be honest, it had a mediocre plot for both story arcs, and the art was very mediocre and then got even worse. Ultimately, the book didn't sell because it wasn't a great book, which is sad because, once again, I am a huge Luke Cage fan and I wanted nothing more but to really like this book. So anyway, am I wrong here? Did this seem like to you that this was a jab at people on social media and the critics not liking this book? Or am I reading too much into it? I really struggled with this because I thought maybe I am, and I still have that thought in my head. I might be reading more into it, but I just can't seem to get out of my head. It seems so targeted against the customer base and critics that it just soured the book to me. This could have been a great book if they just told a story. It did woven in with her life. She was getting picked on, and she missed her parents. Granted, I get that, but I still think it could have been written in a better way, because it just seems to me that it's poking shots at the very customer base that Marvel has, that this book needed in order to do well. All right, well, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was I way off base? Was I right? Am I absolutely crazy here? Once again, I am not 100% sure here myself, so I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments on this. So until next time, keep it frugal.